There's something to be written about paralyzation. Something like that would go into like a really smart self-help book. But I can't find any, so there's a YouTube video. What I'm talking about with paralyzation is when you like finally have a day off and everything you'd like to do requires just a little bit too much effort. So since you can like only pick one thing, you got to really think about it. And you're like, well, maybe if I scroll while I do it, I can occupy my idle hands. And then all that you end up doing is getting like your mind occupied and shit. And this happens also in the hours before you go to work. Even in like the 5 hours before you go to work, paralyzation turns that 5 hours of free time into 30 minutes of scrambling to get dressed before work. And then you're like upset at your job, upset at yourself. And I think phones and social media are a problem, obviously. I think every thinking person thinks that. But what I believe is that phones and their issues are more of like a symptom or like maybe like better described as like a red herring for the larger problem, which is that no one has any free time anymore. When everyone's working three jobs on top of often school, those precious hours of time you have mean everything. Like a moment to turn our brains off is what we're all looking for because we have to be on literally 24/7. Even if we're not at work, we're still like contactable by our job or other responsibilities we have in our life. There's a study that shows that people who stay up late at night are often doing it because it's the only time in their days that they have free time. I know it's why I spent the majority of my life going to bed between 3 and 5 a.m. And our phones, with its ease of everything and social media's algorithms bent on getting you to stay on as long as possible, make it so that once we turn it on, it stays on. I used to think our addiction to our phones, which we see as making every one of us dumber, was its own isolated issue. But for the last 2 weeks, I haven't had to work, which is maybe the most amount of free time I've had since I was like little and couldn't conceive of free time. And what happened was I found myself no longer paralyzed. I went to bed at 10 p.m. I woke up at 6:30 a.m. I didn't eat late. I brushed my teeth, which is often harder than you think it is. I slept soundly. And when I woke up, I was just like awake. Like I was fully there. It didn't take me like 6 hours and three different types of energy drinks to wake up. I just like was. And I used my consciousness to teach me all the things I've always wanted to learn. Like I've been writing in my journal every single day. I've been teaching myself how to draw with the help of my dear friend and podcast co-host Sadie. I've been sending letters. I've even started learning how to cook, which is nuts because I once set myself on fire. I read for a couple hours every day. I've taken 2 Danza Azteca classes. I go on walks every day and I see something new in the city. And craziest part of all, my screen time went from 12 hours a day, 12 hours plus, to 2 hours per day. And most of that time was spent texting my friends back, which for the first time didn't feel like a Herculean task. Like every time I opened my phone and there wasn't a text message, it just felt like there was nothing on there for me. When your free time isn't divided into micro moments between first job, second job, third job, and sleep, your range of possibility becomes like infinite. Like I could actually do the things I've wanted to do. And until today, I thought it was just because I was using my phone less that I found this like form of like aesthetic enlightenment or whatever. And phone is bad, of course, but tomorrow I go back to my jobs and and just the thought of that completely shattered whatever form of enlightenment I thought I had. Like it's actually nutty. The brain fog returned. Like I felt myself dumber than I was yesterday. And then I spent all day scrolling, thinking about what I wanted to do with my last day. And despite continuing a lot of the habits I'd thankfully started to build up, I was utterly miserable and lost all day. And it's so late now. It's not too late. It's not past my bedtime yet. And I was disappointed in myself that the paralyzation I felt before had returned. It took until then, like that very moment, for me to realize that The problem and the paralyzation didn't come from phone. The problem is that we aren't meant to work this much. And now I may have just read the wrong books, but even as recently as feudalism, like the average European worked like only 4 to 6 hours a day with like 3 meals and days off on Sundays. And you don't even know how little people worked before feudalism. And this video offers no solution. There's no great epiphany from my 14 days of living as an aesthetic. And I have no suggestions. Sorry, it's a YouTube video. Because the issue is that a YouTube video can't defeat our economic system. This system needs to be abolished, and not only in the interests of me and the toiling masses, but also I think just for like the soul of humanity. I feel like even though our institutions and our corporate overlords push back on the idea of phones being bad, they also see the discourse around screen time as a beneficial distraction to the true reason we turn to our phones, which is our barren, crushing lives. And another benefit for our modern feudal lords is that phone is making us like dumber. It is ruining our attention spans. AI is bad for all of us, and our work schedules isolate us so much so it's a lot of so's, but if I wanted to write a script, I wouldn't have as many so's, but I don't do that because I'm too dumb. And it's the phone's problem. What was I fucking saying? Right, I was complaining about movies. It makes it so that like movies which are meant to be watched in community, we have so little time and so little energy that we consume movies just from our tiny screens in our bed, which benefits our lords because the less we talk to people, the less we learn about each other's working conditions, and the more isolated we feel, and the more that they can get away with squeezing out every drop of our lifeblood for the sake of productivity. I don't know, it's kind of maddening. It's actually just so much to say at once. And this is a YouTube video, so maybe the only thing I have to say in this video is that this is gonna sound so preachy, but at like every moment you can, turn away from your phone. Even though it's so impossible in our modern day, like it's the way we pay for things too. And even this video, turn it off, stop watching. There's nothing good on the internet these days. There's nothing that you can get from it. Like at least in the 2000s, we had Wizard 101, easily searchable articles and essays and information. And we also had like forums to talk about Beyblade on. And everything now is AI generated rage bait meant to get you to keep clicking on stuff. Everyone is a bot. Dead internet theory is real, I hear. And the only place to find any answer to any question is a Reddit thread from like 2009. And I hate Reddit, which means that for me and probably for you too, the internet isn't fun anymore. And it's getting less fun every single day. I don't know what you could do instead. Maybe leave your suggestions in the comments below if you want to prove you're not a bot. I don't know what I'm going to do when and after I go back to work tomorrow, but I carry my journal and a book in my messenger bag everywhere I go. Maybe that will do something to help. I don't know. All I know is that join a union or make one and fight for less hours. Other than that, I don't know. I hope we all, in our own ways, find ways to overcome these awful conditions that we're under. And to do so requires a great amount of discipline and concentration, which is getting harder and harder every single day. I don't know. Just don't let phone be your outlet. Like, there's so much you can create. Like, you can, like, literally pens. You can do anything with this. I was trying to open it for comedic effect, but it's not, it's just not working. So I'm actually just going to put